Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. The evening sun dipped low over the quiet countryside estate, where Donna Derby and Bradley Walsh had shared over 3 decades of love, laughter, and quiet contentment. The garden, Bradley's pride and joy, shimmered in the golden hour, but Donna barely noticed. Her heart was heavy, and her hands trembled as she stood by the kitchen window, watching the man she loved slowly pace along the rose bushes, his steps now hesitant, his frame weaker than ever. Bradley Walsh, the ever-charming host with the twinkling eyes and lightning wit, had always been the strong one. To the world, he was unstoppable, full of jokes, energy, and that signature spark. But behind closed doors, the truth was unraveling fast. It had started with a mild tremor in his hand, one he'd casually brushed off as just age. Then came the forgotten lines during rehearsals, the fatigue, and the silence that followed his famous jokes. Not because they weren't funny, but because he couldn't find the punchline anymore. The diagnosis had come like thunder in a clear sky. Neurological, progressive, no cure. Donna remembered the doctor's words like a drumbeat in her ears. It'll come in waves, one day at a time. But time was a luxury that felt too sharp now, too cruel. This morning, Bradley had struggled to remember their son's name. "Dean," she had whispered gently, holding his hand, willing herself not to cry. He'd nodded slowly, as if the name were a distant echo. Then, with a small smile, he'd said, "He's got your eyes." That was the moment it hit her, not like a slap, but like a wave she didn't see coming. She had excused herself, stumbled into the laundry room, and finally let go. Her sobs were silent but fierce, her body curled in on itself like a leaf in autumn. She had always been his anchor, the one behind the cameras, behind the scenes, behind the man. They had met when he was still just a spark of potential. She had seen something in him before the world did, something gentle, raw, and real. Now she watched that light dim, flickering in ways she wasn't prepared for. That evening she brought him a cup of tea, his favorite, with just a splash of milk. He was sitting on the garden bench, the one they'd shared countless sunsets. "You all right, love?" she asked, voice soft. He looked up, eyes cloudy but still kind. "Tell me a story, Donna, one where we're young again." She did. She told him about their first date, how he tripped over a waiter's foot and spilled wine everywhere, how he'd been mortified but she had laughed so hard she cried. She reminded him of their honeymoon in Greece, where they got lost and ended up dancing with the locals in a tiny hilltop village. As she spoke, Bradley chuckled, a faint, raspy sound that broke her heart with its fragility. He leaned into her shoulder, and for a while they just sat, wrapped in the comfort of memories. But even stories couldn't stop time. Later that night, Donna sat by the window, her journal open in front of her. She wrote down every moment from the day, every smile, every stumble, every memory sparked. Because she knew the day would come when he might not remember at all. And when that happened, she wanted to be his memory, his anchor, his light in the storm. Even as her own heart broke in silence, and as the stars blinked quietly above their home, Donna Derby wiped her tears and whispered into the night, "I'm still here, Brad. I'm not going anywhere." The wind rustled through the roses, carrying her promise forward, soft, steady, and unbreakable.